day we fight. We'll take our place, we won't give in, our victory's in sight. Only a sword in our hand, but we enter the lion's den. We're not waiting for a war, we bring the war to them.
Welcome all to Wednesday night D&D. Bit of a time skip from last time, because unfortunately it's been 2 weeks, but we're picking off exactly where we left off. We've just arrived at the Hunter's Lodge. We've spoken to the gentleman in charge of that. We have struck a deal in that we are going to make sure that all records of his hunting lodge are removed from the monastery in which we found them. And in return, he's going to show us to a possible location we could set up base. So it could possibly be time to settle down and start building up our encampment, ready to push back against the Kaiteron invaders. But before all that can begin, it's time for us to get in game and get started. So without further ado, it's time for some D&D. And we are live and going.
Okay. Welcome back to Shattered Realms. Our adventurers are in the Hunter's Lodge north in Valhalla. You've just been having a conversation with Robert Black, who then disappeared to arrange things for your evening and your stay. Do any of you want to do anything in particular here?
I don't remember anything that we need to still accomplish while we were here.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything to do here per se. And
I think it was around to sleep.
Rude.
Yeah, it's. I think we've had our chat. It's time for us to enjoy an evening meal. I suspect in utter contempt and silence from the rest of the hunters, and pick up in the morning when we're ready to set off towards this location Robert has given us as a possible base.
Okay. Time goes by. The evening draws in. You're provided with food, roast venison, with a stew, and shown to a room upstairs with bunks. They're old. The wood looks old, worn, very worn in places, but still serviceable. And you hear the sounds out below of the others, the other hunters fade away, people heading out, and night falls and you go to sleep, is anyone keeping watch or anything? We
I
just
don't
all
feel
go and
we
sleep.
need to keep watch. These people seem quite trustable.
I don't think they're going to slit our throats in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Ozzy, are you going to keep watch, or are you actually going to sleep?
Let's see. We've been traveling for what, a couple of days at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, stay in bed, but not be asleep.
It's just to remind you, it is the 38th of summer, the year 760. Summer's still got a fair old way to go before autumn comes around. Okay. As the rest of you sleep, Corvin, make a perception check.
I just now realized I completely forgot my character sheet. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
We're going
I've
to
also.
die.
It's one of those cannibal houses that you warned me about, obviously. I've also heard from Susie. He'll be here shortly. 12. Okay. You. 1 second. Sorry.
I'm going to get Sudi's on a bus.
I mean, considering that's what he does for a living, makes sense.
I would
does-
hope he doesn't drive
He's
the bus
home,
all
actually.
the way home.
He's just getting ready, changing.
Yes. The ever necessity of changing your clothes before getting on the computer.
Well, out of uniform,
You
I
know.
guess.
Oh,
And
I
then
guess
out
that
of
makes
your
sense.
uniform, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That's what I pretty much do. You don't notice any. No, actually, yes, you do notice.
Oh no.
So later on, after the others have been asleep for 2-3 hours, you've heard others come and go in the hallway outside of these small bunk rooms that you're in, and you hear. So it's later on, another couple of hours since you've heard the other hunters presumably go into their bunks and sleep. It's
Oh,
sound of
thank you
someone
for the
coming
follow,
in
Liz. I hope you
into
enjoy
the hallway, walking
D&D.
along. They stop, or rather the footsteps stop, and they sniff. And you can hear this deep
Dunno.
inhalation of breath once, twice, 3 times. You hear another door open onto the corridor and someone call out before the footsteps hurry on away.
Something interesting, and it's all right. Don't worry about not being a follower. I'm sure.
All
You've
goes
rectified the
quiet.
situation now, so all is good. So we've got someone with creepy breathing who's probably just been shouted at by someone who's been woken up in the middle of the night.
It definitely wasn't a shout. It was
Was I able to make out what was said?
unfortunately no, with the door in the way and the distance. No, you're just aware that someone said something and the footsteps receded away. If you aren't going to do anything, we'll roll around to the following morning.
Yeah. No, not going to do anything.
Best not to make a fuss, I think.
What you're talking about? You're asleep.
I know, but I'm of the opinion. I agree with Obviously, best to roll around. That
Yeah.
it's not a good idea if we make a fuss in this
Okay.
place.
You're woken early by the sounds of people trumping around. With it being a hunter's lodge, it's probably easy to presume they leave early in the mornings quite often to
Crazy
get the best start
werewolves.
on the day. And you're woken. You find by the time you get down to the sort of main common room, you'll find Robert Black is there and ready. He's just finishing his bowl of what looks to be porridge and points towards a cauldron on the table where there's more for the rest of you.
Oh, nothing like a
Eat
good bit of
up.
porridge.
Eat up, and
Porridge.
we can get moving shortly.
While we're eating efforts,
Mhm.
were there any particular?
Nope.
Was there any
Who's
particular
else?
gate
Apologies.
to the footsteps that stopped outside the door?
Um. It sounded heavy, deliberate, coming down the hallway. When they receded, there was a quicker pace to them. Otherwise, nothing else that stood out.
Okay. Just kind of keep my ears open for similar heavy sounding footsteps or that kind of inhalation through the nose.
Okay. You, yeah. Robert once again at the porridge and says, "Eat your fill. Need to be off soon if you want to get there in decent time." Now, I did point out two on your map, so which would you prefer? One near the gap, or the one further around?
I think we're gonna go with the one closer through the gap. We need to head back that way anyway.
Fair enough.
Which one was?
The ruined village.
So that'll be yeah, for one. So people have got highlighted.
Okay.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we don't have a way to show this map as
Robert
it's in a Google Doc.
turns to you as a group and
It's also a spreadsheet that's coloured, so it
looks
doesn't look good.
at you on. Finally settles on Rufin. You're all okay with the deal still? Or would you like to change it? I might have been hasty in getting you to agree last night. A night's sleep might have changed your minds. Now's the time to speak it, if it has.
Honestly, the terms you gave us were quite good, and we're quite happy with them. I don't think there's much need to change.
Yeah. What does he feel that he rushed us on, or may have rushed us on?
He shrugs and turns to you, Corvin, and says, "I am host here. I have to, by rights, be hospitable, and I feel as though I do not want to have pushed and to cause my guests discomfort."
Not at all, my friend. In fact, you have lifted many a great weight off our shoulders, and it is not much out of our way to go and deal with those records for you. We were planning on heading back that way at some point anyway, so it's you have not imposed heavily on us.
Very well then. Hi, Suti. To get you caught up, we've not got much further in. You're still at the Hunter's Lodge. You went to bed. You've woken up, had breakfast. Corvin stayed awake during the night and heard someone sniffing loudly in the hallway before they disappeared.
What
Walked
kind
away.
of sniffing? Are we talking like a, or like a doggy sniff?
Thank you for that beautiful sniff. That's
Well, I can do a doggy one too if you want, but I thought
No, we're
you
good.
probably know what that is.
That's a good point. I assumed it was like a human trying to smell something sniff.
Oh
but
no, if we wandered into a den of werewolves.
It's up to you to think what you want. Last time it was cannibals, now it's werewolves.
Oh, but it has
Could just be hunters, you never know.
it has reminded me of something I did want to mention to our host here. I'm going to point to the skull mounted above the fireplace. What type of dragon's that? And was that one that you fellas killed?
He stops eating and turns to look. Oh, that's a green dragon. It's old school. Yes, we killed it many years ago now. When I was much younger. It was troubling the region, and we were fortunate enough to catch it in a inopportune moment for it, and gain the upper hand, as hunters like to do.
Well, anyone who can take down a green dragon is a good person in my books. That is quite the feat.
There were more of us before, less after.
I can imagine that being the case. They are vicious beasts.
Have you ever faced a dragon yourself?
Not up close. I have once seen the aftermath of what a dragon can do to a village ill prepared, but never have I seen a beast in person. If I had, I probably wouldn't be sat at this table.
That is very true. Fortunately, they are few in number in these parts, at least. Though I hear south across the ocean there are more. But
Does not
that's to
sound
them.
like a friendly place.
Never has to me.
Well,
Right,
it's-
if you're ready, we can start travelling.
Yes, it is time we departed, but it is good to know one less terror stalks these woods.
Very well. If you're ready, I will lead on.
Lead on.
Robert Black leads you out. You get the distinct feeling that there are eyes watching you from the edge of the forest as you leave. And Robert ignores them and continues leading you all at a fast pace. It seems he knows the land here incredibly well, taking you past areas which you struggled with the previous day. He seems to be picking a route which the cart pulled by a mule's can take more easily.
I don't want to break the theme currently because we seem to be into a roll. But are we staying at the hunting lodge again, or are we going somewhere else now?
No, the idea is he's leading us to a place that he believes might suit our needs. And if that's the case, then
There's a lot of places in that hunting lodge that were not explored, and
But again, best not
I'm a bit
to
curious.
push them a bit too far when we've only just met and literally stayed the night. Maybe when we've built up more of a relationship with this group of people.
That. I was thinking of doing sneaky.
Of course, the rogue wants to do sneaky stuff.
It's all I've got. Leave me alone.
It's fine. We might be going back there, but we have. believe the plan was we're going to investigate this possible location, and then from there we're heading south again. One, to deal with the hunter's request of getting rid of that record, and also the guy who was looking for a group of adventurers to take on a task, because we do need to secure some
Yes.
liquid
fundage.
assets.
Yeah.
Very good.
While we're walking, can I ask Robert? So we've heard tell of an individual in the area who calls himself the King of the Halleck. Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, he looks around briefly at you as he continues leading along. You talking about Halland's boy then?
Honestly, I don't know. We've only heard the name the King of the Halleck, and I was just curious if you had any further information.
Wouldn't call him king. Halland's boys, well, they reckon they're descended from nobility lords. I'm not certain whether that's true or not. I keep out of dealings of nobles and the like. Only bad things tend to happen when cross with them. All high and mighty, and people seem to care about more. So we keep away from them. But Halland's boy, yes, I know him a little, seen him a few times. His father I knew more, and his father's father I knew better. They've been in the Halleck for a long time.
And so you've been here a long time too.
Yes, well, Halleck is my home. He continues.
Does this man look outwardly human or a species that has a longer lifespan? Because that's a long Goliath.
I thought, I'm pretty sure he was a Goliath.
Yeah.
He's a Goliath. You all know that Goliaths have a sort of reasonably typical lifespan of somewhere up to but less than a century. Which is about average for humans and I think halflings from memory.
He knew his father better and his father's father even better. It's just like, that is a very, very long time ago.
It is.
Yeah.
How long do gnomes live?
Give me a sec just to remind myself. Up to around 300.
Oh. So something that's nearly 8 foot tall only lives 100 years, and something that's like 3 foot nothing lives 300 years.
Gnomes are more magic than creature, to be fair.
It depends upon the setting, but yes, essentially.
Cool. Yeah.
To give you a bit more, halflings live to around 120. So if you're a half orc, then it's a lot less. It's around up to about 70, 75.
But to be fair, they usually end up dead a lot younger with an axe through their skull.
There is that. And then the likes of Eldrin, High Elf, live quite easily into like 1600s.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the book it says 700 plus easily.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this man, he seems to have possibly lived longer than a Goliath should.
So while we're traveling, I will use Insightful Discovery to kind of watch him
Okay.
to see if I can find anything out.
Reminds me on Insightful Discovery.
So upon spending an hour observing and examining a subject and succeeding at a medium DC intelligence history check, you can uncover the purpose, use of any object, language, cultural practice, or similar subject.
Okay. So I'm just opening up to read myself again. Right.
So how long are we being escorted south?
It's to get to where you're going. It's probably going to take you best part of the day. Okay, roll your history check. Remember your background dice, which I believe is a D4 from memory.
Yeah, on top of the.
On top of the D20 roll, yeah, plus history.
Oh,
Wow.
no history today.
Well, do your D4 and see whether that helps out. I mean, it might get up to... Oh, wow, okay.
That is quite a roll.
That is quite
Yeah.
a roll of 5. Wow.
Okay, so Ark's not doing anything else.
Does
tonight,
Ark
then.
have the spell guidance? Can he add another D4 to the pile? If you can at any point pick that up, because I'm pretty sure it is a druid spell, I do recommend it.
Yeah. On that, you get the cultural practices of being hospitable to guests. That's of Fricaldic style. That's something definitely from the Fricaldic culture, which is not typical to Cerith.
Good job there, Eldrin. Well done.
That was my first, when we first met them, and they invited him in after I read Everett's book on the cultural settings. I was like, these people are not Paradian. These are Feraldic. I was a bit confused. Like, we haven't gone that far north, have we?
No, you haven't gone far enough north to be on Nordalia.
So, they're possibly exiled from a Feraldic nation, and this man seems to have lived far longer than a Goliath probably should. There's something different about him, but we don't know what. We can't quite work it out.
So we'll need to go back and investigate.
We could keep on asking questions.
With dice rolls like that, that's probably not a good idea.
I've got an idea.
Questions don't always cause dice rolls.
Can I use, it says here I can use detect thoughts to search for thinking creatures around me.
Okay.
Since they have to have an intelligence of at least 3.
What's distance in that? 30 feet?
I'm looking.
30 feet would be
Yeah,
pretty bad.
30 feet.
I'd be worried if you can't see 30 feet.
No. This is the detect. They just have to be within 30 feet of you.
Okay.
What's all this blue
It's
stuff?
most of the way down the description.
Okay. I see, yeah.
We've been messing with voice sounds, Everett.
A little bit. Yeah.
They were earlier.
Oh, is that blue thing? Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Right, okay. Yeah, trying to find this slightly clearer setting. Within 30 feet of you, no, you're not aware of any others that close other than the ones you expect.
Okay.
I'm curious.
Are you wanting anything further from that, or?
Oh, I can't.
Quick read of
mule.
Robert's
It's not an intelligent
surface
creature.
thoughts, I guess.
So sad.
Got it out.
Oh, hello.
Okay. Just want to double check exactly what it says.
Oh, damn.
Okay, how to open it. There we go. So when talking about Halland, he keeps calling him Halland's boy. You get when he talks about father, you get the idea of meeting an untimely end. When he talks of the grandfather, you get the image of an old man who disappeared and a name, Volquin. Volquin disappeared in the mists.
Oh,
What was
screw
the
it.
name he kept calling the guy? It was Howland?
Halland's boy, yeah.
Screw it. I'm going to ask him a question.
But do you
Those
know
are
this
two spells.
information? This hasn't been revealed to you yet.
Hmm?
What's he going to ask, Sooty?
I can't even goddamn thing Karen says. You're so quiet, boy.
Really? I shouldn't be, have I?
Hmm.
You are a little quiet.
You are.
Oh, yeah. No, how's that? The bottom mixer on my microphone got set low for some reason. That better?
A bit better, yeah.
Yes. I'm just going to come out and ask how old he is. Oh, friendly, know me, bubbly, pink-haired way.
In your slightly weirdly flirty way? God.
Yeah, I would do it, but I'm eating peanuts.
He thinks for a moment and just answers with, old enough that my joints ache in the rain.
Mm.
He points to the sort of whitish grey hair at his temples as well.
I'm going to smile and chuckle and bounce away. I got nothing else.
Okay. You continue going. Continue to ask questions if you want, or make conversation. If not, let's see. Ooh, actually, Rufin's not leading. It's Robert, so I'm going to roll a d12.
A behind the scenes D12. We're facing an angry green dragon here to avenge his father.
That'd be an awkward one. Yeah,
I'm supposed to be the awkward one,
rules.
not you.
So,
Question for Thingy Black or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Would he be able to teach me how to use short bows better? Seeing as he's a hunter, or does he not use bows? Does he run around with a spear and stab things?
he does have
can he,
a bow.
Can he teach me how to use a spear better? Because I have one of those as well, and I couldn't hit a damn thing the other day with it.
If you want martial training, that would be something you could try and go about in your downtime, and essentially next time you level up, you could take like a level fighter if you wanted.
Fair enough.
Or a feat when you're next available to.
Which I do believe is level 4.
Yeah, which is level 4, so you could take a feat that fits. As for Robert, he's got axe, short bow, short sword on him.
Cool.
As he's running along with you guys.
Wearing any kind of armor?
He is. It's hard to say, but he's definitely got a sort of mixture of a padded gambeson with a little bit of chainmail poking through here and there.
That seems unusually heavy armor for a huntsman.
I mean, have you seen how angry the piggies are?
It's not that unusual for the Shattered Realms, where orcs abound. There's trolls, giants, ogres, stuff like griffins.
They
and
have
dragons.
the skull of a green dragon. To be fair, they've got that dragon skull.
Owlbears.
Suggests
There's many monsters, creatures which just make life dangerous. Even bears can easily kill, so having some armor is probably sensible for a hunter who's out in wilds on their own.
Can we ask him about the local orc population? Does he see them? Does he deal with them?
Probably a good
Does
idea.
he trade with them? Can they be traded with? Are they amicable to that, or do we just need to kill them on sight? Because I'm thinking if we're in the north in the wilderness and there's a lot of orky boys, maybe we should be on side rather than fighting them constantly. Or is that not a thing?
There is a long period of history in this setting called the Archon Wars, in which was it the Republic or was it still the Old Kingdom at that point in your setting, Everett? That was
Kingdom.
It was the Old
Kingdom of
Kingdom.
Cerith, yeah, fought war, quite a brutal war against a concerted orc invasion by a united orcish tribes being united
Yeah, but that was a few years ago, wasn't it?
behind a figure.
There was the whole thing. The lady, is it the Lady of Sorrow?
Yes.
That whole order was set up in honor of a Furbolg maiden who held a ford with no military training against the odds against orcs whilst refugees escaped. If you sideline with the orcs, you're going to probably piss off the entire order of the Lady of Sorrow, and they are quite serious people.
They've got a serious backing.
It's a good idea to get information, but I don't think siding with the orcs is the option we want to go with.
If you could trade with them, even just for mutual gain.
Robert,
enemies allied with them.
Robert looks sideways at Sparks and nods. Yeah, you can trade with them if you know the right tongue, the right customs, the right. You have what they might want. It's possible.
Have you?
Dangerous. From time to time, when great need arises, yes.
So that might be, things get really desperate.
Maybe wouldn't if I were you, though. You'd fit quite nicely in one of their cooking pots, I'm sure.
Charming.
Lovely.
That's if you're lucky.
Don't make me roll luck.
Please don't. Not with the rolls we've had so far.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, was there another question that Robert needed to answer?
Trading info about the orcs and where they are, if we can avoid them, if possible. If we head further north.
He explained to further north it gets more wild, and that's where he knows better. But yes, there are orc tribes further north to the east. The mountains crawl with them. There's various tribes over to the west, near the Narrows, is an orc tribe he calls Blackgate. In the mountains to the south, there is another tribal warband. Give me a sec. Just need to pull up the right thing. Not too far. Sorry. For blood axes to the south. In the north, in the upper Halleck, he calls them tree burners. Those are the main ones which he talks about.
What about orcs in that abandoned fortress to the west, at the above the river as it flows through the mountains? What can you tell us about those ones?
Okay, so Blackgates. They're dug in deep. Last I saw, it's been a while since I've been that way. They came down out of the mountains further north, sometime during the wars, and never went all the way back up north again. Something drove them south, I think, and when they found the fortress there, they definitely made it their home, transported all they have there, and seem quite happy to raid.
Yes,
Do
we
they-
encountered one of
they
their
have a-
raiding parties.
Do they ever bother you at the hunting lodge, or do they just leave you be?
Usually we're good enough to avoid them before they see us coming. And we tend to stick to the northern lands anyway. The southern Halleck isn't quite as rich with game for us. Though there's some things we can typically only find in the south that's worth hunting.
Well, no further questions. Your witness.
Okay. The journey continues. Eventually, you come to a village, a ruined village. You arrive
There's
from
a
the
battle
north.
map. When are we rolling for initiative?
We don't have
Is
to.
this an effort one, or is this a non-effort one?
Have a guess.
I think this is an effort one.
This is an effort one, I'm sure of it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is
Ooh.
one of mine. You arrive from the north, coming down. You circle around the ends of the mountains and pass over a couple of hills where the trees are more bare. Robert stops briefly to sniff at the wind before continuing.
Plot hook,
And-
plot hook!
Oh, Ozzy.
Grab the
try
hook!
it.
and continues.
I don't know. He sniffed at the wind. I don't know what you expect me to do with
Was it
that,
the same as
guys.
the stuff you heard last night?
Oh, good point. Was it?
Jesus Christ. If that hook was any bigger, I could have taken it off of her and hit you around the head with it.
Across the Atlantic Ocean. He wouldn't have
You-
to get out of his chair and he'd still hit you.
You're fairly sure it's not, although at your interest, Robert looks round and sort of just goes, "You smell that, don't you?"
I'll sniff. Do I smell anything?
Smells like elf.
Give me a perception check.
Right.
Can
'cause
we
I did
all
so
give that a
amazingly
go?
on the last
'Cause
one.
Yeah.
is
You're
that
trying
something
to
we can all
perceive
do?
something, so yeah, you can all have a go. You can all try and sniff the wind and see what you notice.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, gnomes are known for their sniffing.
Well,
Apparently, yes,
so.
they are.
Sweet Jesus.
Nice.
Alright, come on, Rufin, don't let me down.
Come on, 4. Oh wow.
22.
No, fine.
Apparently
Okay.
we're all as good as wolves.
Wow, the guy with the
That's pretty
fucking
good.
+6 to perception got the lowest roll. Thanks.
Maybe it's just your eyes and not your nose.
Maybe.
Eldrin, Sparks, and Rufin, you can all pick out just on the wind. It's a bit hard to tell, but there's a faint smell of body odor,
Death.
stale sweat, and
Thanks for letting us know we all need a bath, Everett.
Faint smell of diesel and oil.
no, just
That's what I
just
smell like.
body
when I come
odor,
home.
just sweat, body odor,
Stale sweat,
smell.
diesel, and oil.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for letting us know what
Anyway.
cologne you use there.
Anyway,
Sooty?
oh, the bus.
The wind continues to blow into your faces as you head into the ruins. Robert sort of slows his
Can I?
pace and points around, going, "Well, this is the village I've marked on your map, north of most of the settlements, not too far away from the old ruins of Harlow, I suppose. It
How-
might serve your purposes." He gestures towards the hill and the ruins. If I remember correctly, there is a well or spring water, and tracks leading here and there that have not been walked in quite a while, probably overgrown completely.
How high is that cliff face and these crushed walls?
The cliff face. Let's see. Let's go with 20 foot, roughly. Narrowing off as you get around here. So
Yeah.
these walls, they stand maybe 5 foot up in places, not more than 6 foot, 7 foot.
So if I scamper off over there, can I hide?
Yeah, sure.
Can I do that before the next thing happens? Because if we can smell body odour, there's obviously someone lurking.
Okay. Do so. Roll stealth. See how well you're hiding. Okay.
I'm gonna try and go up this hill and stealth.
Okay, if you want to. Up the hill, up here.
Yeah.
Okay. That would involve climbing. Give me a whatever's better out of
Probably acrobatics.
athletics, I think. More.
Athletics, yeah.
How do you get that with 0 plus, and I get 11 with a +7?
The luck of the
Because
dice.
the dice like him more.
But not anymore. They're back to rolling him low rolls as they did at the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Right. You go to climb up the cliff over here. As you put your weight on a handhold, it comes away in your hand, and so does the rock you were stood on, and you slide down, scraping down the cliff face to land at the bottom on your feet, but shaken.
I will just take my stealth roll right here then.
Yes, after showering yourself
You
in
are-
rocks.
You now look like a rock because you are covered in dust after sliding down the cliff face.
I am now a rock.
Let's see.
I'm going
the
to stealth up behind this wall and tree, because 6 foot is taller than Rufin.
So, as these guys are panicking, does Robert seem particularly worried by what he's noticed?
He's stopped and is actually watching the four of you. He's
panicked.
stood in the open, not doing anything. He's not moved. He's not drawn a weapon. He's just stood watching.
I'm not panicking, sneaking.
Almost judging.
It's like we're not panicking, we're just being careful.
He finally looks to Corvin and just shakes his head slightly. I take it some of you can smell what's on the wind.
What is it?
There's something
Still
here.
sweat. And there's something around. I have a feeling I might know what or who. Might be wise to take precautions, you might say. No sudden movements, if you would, and keep the mule back.
Does that count for thingy falling down the side of a cliff face?
This is post that. After he's fallen down.
Oh, the mule is no longer enormous. Damn.
Yeah, I fixed it fine.
No.
Oh,
It wasn't broken.
It was perfectly sized.
I liked the 20-foot tall mule. He had character.
that was a stealth mule.
Do not body shame the mule, okay? No.
Yeah.
The ground shakes.
Oh no, the mule's coming up, boys.
Okay, now that's interesting.
Uh-oh.
You hear a deep bass groan.
What do I have to roll if I need to rest my hand? What do I roll if I piss my pants?
Constitution, I'm pretty sure.
Constitution, yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not going to do
Right,
that.
we're bringing up the character sheet, ready to hit that roll for initiative button.
Robert looks and goes, shall I take the lead, or would you like to venture first around?
Well,
That
if this is
feels
going
like a
to be our-
hook.
if this is going to possibly be our home for the foreseeable future, we should probably take an interest in defending it.
Yeah.
And with that, I will advance a little ways.
Okay.
Cautiously, but...
Do you know what?
What for the rest of you do?
I can hear that little glint of humour in Everett's voice. I don't think this is something we're going to have to fight. I think it might be something that just lives here, and we need to deal with non-violently.
Well, that's why we'll send Corvin in first, and if he gets eaten, then the rest of us will take proper action.
I am going to draw my bow and string my bow or whatever, and I'm going to stay exactly where the hell I am.
I move to cover, and I'll pull out my bow,
Yeah.
hiding down below the wall.
Okay.
The ranged weapon users are getting in cover, ready to strike.
Robert follows along a couple of a little way behind Corvin. The ground shakes again, and you hear another sort of groan and a thud.
Any
Sparks,
particular-
are you staying that far away? It's coming from up on the cliff top.
Okay.
Can I remain hidden if I move, or do I need to stealth again?
Your stealth is running until you're spotted by something. You've made a check, essentially.
Am I actually stealthed on 11, or is that yet to
You
be
think
seen?
so?
Your stealth score is 11, so that's the DC that other things have to roll against to spot you.
You don't.
Oh, okay.
Your character doesn't particularly know that well how hidden they are. You hide the best you can, but you can't necessarily tell how well you're hidden because you can't see yourself from a different perspective.
When we've got the money, can I get a ghillie suit, please?
I mean, there are cloaks that kind of do that. Advantage to stealth.
You could definitely come up with
Is that the
something.
cloak of elven kind?
Yes, I believe it is. You continue moving round. Robert's just walking calmly, but keeping an eye on where you all are and watching Corvin lead.
So what? He says he thinks he knows what it is, so I'm just going to come out and ask him, what is it? It seems large and groany, but is it a giant troll?
A local.
A local.
Oh, God, yeah. I knew it. I can bear for it.
You come to where you are, and if you just freeze there, Corvin and Rufin, and let's see. Ahead, you see, sat down, looking your way, a rather large figure.
The donkey's previous owner. No.
Quite likely the donkey's previous owner, yes. If the donkey was still a giant sized.
I want to say that's some kind of giant or something. It's not a troll,
The
is it?
token to me looks like a hill giant.
He yawns and looks towards you, sniffing. And stamps to his feet, the ground shaking more. Oh, boo-foo. And moves towards you at a fast pace, his legs striding out. He reaches down towards you, Corvin. What do you do?
Nah.
Nothing.
Constitution check.
Okay.
Go on, reach out your hand, go to shake his hand. Give him a businessman's impression.
He reaches out with his hand and simply picks you up. His huge fingers and hands easily scooping you up and lifting you clear of the ground. He pulls you closer to his face, and you can smell the stale sweat, the horrendous bad breath as he pulls you closer and sniffs. So at this point, that Robert calls out, Fundara Kunda. The
What did he say?
I'm going to say
giant
it's a
figure.
language we don't understand.
No.
Do any of you have Fundarak? Fundarak. As a
No.
language.
Not I.
Nope.
Oh, there you go then. After a moment, the giant, because that's what it is, standing at about, well, tall. I'm struggling to think how tall it actually is with his giant
Well, if
size.
he's picked Corbin up,
He's probably
Corbin's
around
an average size human male, so about 5'8", 5'9".
It's probably closer to 30 foot tall. So
We
large
scooped him
trees.
with one hand or two hands.
One hand.
So
I
if
can never
hands
do
are the
giant sizes very well.
hands are the equivalent size of Corvin to pick him up comfortably.
Yeah.
And a hand is roughly one.
You can hear the gears going.
Yeah, I'll leave you to work this out. You give me a height if you want in a minute. I'll continue over description. The giant, for that's what it is, in its raggy trousers and with belts around its middle, with what looks to be a vicious-looking sword stuck
He's
in like a
approximately
knife.
70 foot tall. Which, to be fair, is like a large oak.
Okay.
Or a fully grown pine. So he's big fucker.
He's a tall
Yeah.
boy.
It's
Yeah.
essentially 4 double-decker buses.
His
Of course,
feet
Suti
do
measures it in
leave
double.
about
Well,
5 foot.
you all know, how big.
length
Well, obviously, probably know how
footprints.
big they are.
His
He's about
footprints do leave.
60, 70 foot tall.
We'll go about 60 on the shorter side.
Yeah.
His footprints leave indentations in the ground, about 5 foot in length, to help with skill, maybe a bit more. He slowly looks at Robert, his arm falling to the side, still holding Corvin. You're now horizontal in its grip at his side, yeah.
I just have this image of Corvin just acting like a stuffed doll, just in its hand. Just, yep, this is life now.
Well, hopefully he doesn't lose an arm.
Can you get your buddy to put Corvin down nicely, please? We'd like him to live.
The giant speaks. Fundarakund ugi vragiana undakina. And Robert looks around and just sort of gestures with his hand, like pushing down slowly. Just maybe move a bit slowly as you pull up. He looks at Corvin. You all right over there, son?
For the moment.
He's not
so calm,
gripping you so tightly that you're not being injured. However you feel, the grip is incredibly strong. Should it wish to now, it could quite possibly squeeze the life out of you.
I don't doubt that.
But Corvin is okay with this. He is the dog in a burning house. This is fine.
Robert looks round and says, "This one is called Vragi. He's a giant from the mountains hereabouts. He used to live further north, but has been... I don't know, actually. Why he's come south? One moment. Kunst Frandier Undu Sundul. He calls out to Fraggy. Fraggy uses his hand holding Corvin to scratch his head, two fingers sort of leaving. You get a face full of mucky hair.
Oh god, we're
There's
gonna have
bits
to
of grass
boil
and
Corvin
branches,
for a week to get the smell out.
in there. You see down his back, and it's hairy, warty. It has a few mushrooms growing on it. And down behind, you can see the carcass of a sheep.
Wait, down his, like in
Down his back, hanging from his belt, you can see the carcass of a sheep.
Okay, we
Okay,
were
sorry.
worried it was wedged in his butt crack.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like.
He's wearing. It does have trousers after a fashion on, and hides as well, forming like
Yeah,
another
but-
layer.
I mean, a sheep wedged in your ass crack is still kind of hard to hide. I don't care if you're wearing pants or not.
To be honest, it is a giant.
Fair.
If anyone could hide it in the ass crack, it would be a giant.
Bear in mind, he's 60 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
So his arse crack
Ample
is about
space
10
in that
foot.
crack.
He
Could we move on from talking about giant ass cracks,
Alright.
please?
okay.
You know what ass crack?
Robert gets a response and says he came south in the storm recently, and he's possibly a bit lost. It's difficult to get a good story out of giants like these, like him. I can act as an interpreter for you, should you wish. Unless one of your number speaks Fundak.
Is it possible that you can teach me his language?
Probably not in an afternoon.
It's a difficult one to master. I've heard of, never heard of an elf who could.
Ask Robert, how jumpy is he? How jumpy does he seem?
Robert sniffs again and just goes, answers. By the smell of it, he's eaten recently, so he's probably quite placid at this point. He's not quite likely to do anything too rash. He seems to have taken it well, with our party moving up a few at a time. I wouldn't push it too far, though. They're prone to act like children, you might say.
Okay.
What do you wish for me to say to him on your behalf?
Actually, I was thinking.
Giant takes a couple of steps, sniffing over this way. The ground shudders with each step, and he carries Corvin along with him.
I was actually thinking I might talk to him myself.
Go for it. Why not?
Okay, I will reach out and with telepathy say, "Hi, I'm Corvin. I'm the guy in your hand. We mean you no harm.
You get about that far before he looks down at you and drops you as if stung, and stumbles back, crashing back into the tree behind, and yelling in his tongue at the top of his lungs. Yeah, Yeah.
Corvin, what did
Yep,
you do?
We all
Why
knew
is
that
it
was gonna go
angry?
bad.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to go that badly.
No more telepathy to the giant.
Yeah, apparently.
He points at Corvin and just yells. Robert moves forward and shouts something at him in turn.
Corvin, go hide behind the tree, so he can't see you
Yeah,
anymore because
time to leave, but
he doesn't
don't,
like you.
just
You
don't
know,
stand too close to us.
At the moment, he seems afraid of me.
Right, but if we're not going to have a
So-
meaningful conversation with him afraid of you.
He, in
Well,
fact, does move back into the trees and sort of peers round the top of one at you.
I'll stand up, brush myself off,
And shouts something at Black.
and
Anyway,
I'll
start.
back away a little bit, but just stand there calmly.
He jabs a finger towards you and shouts at Robert again. Robert just turns to look at you and goes, "What did you do? Did you stab him? With what? What weapon do you have that can harm him so?"
I did not stab him. I spoke to him.
The glories of telepaths.
You spoke and in such a way that you inspired such fear. What is this language that you speak?
All right, I'll use telepathy on Robert and say, okay, perhaps spoke is not the right word.
He looks stunned for a minute before his eyebrows sort of raise. I've not heard of this before. What kind of magic is this?
I don't know.
Whatever it is, it scared him. You might be in a better position now to bargain. Giants. Well, yes, giants. You might say only respect those which can hurt them or are bigger. And well, you've certainly scared him.
That was not my intention.
So you have the advantage.
Telling us we can negotiate now.
Well, let's negotiate for his little hillside.
Do we want his hillside or do we just want the village?
I mean, the hillside's going to give us an overview of the village and probably be a little bit more defensible.
Also,
Possibly.
probably having a hungry hill giant in close proximity to a settlement, probably not good.
Yeah, this is fair.
And to be fair, Robert did also say that he came south during the storm and his usual haunt is a lot further north. We could possibly just ask him to go home and maybe Robert can show him the way and ask him, just don't come back here again.
Well, maybe just ask him to go home. I mean, if we could befriend this hill giant, that could be very nice.
It's
That would
basically a
make an idea.
walking siege engine.
Pretty much.
One way to think of it.
Being on friendly terms,
mean-
possibly good, but you probably don't want him too close to a settlement. One, he might eat people or he will eat livestock. And two, most people are going to be very scared of a hill giant. It might be harder to get people to actually want to come here if their next door neighbour is 60 foot tall, doesn't speak the language, and has horrific body odour.
Yeah. I know, that's why we want him to go home.
Send him home, but let him know that he is welcome to come back here if an emergency arises. Say something scared him, something like that, he can come off. Something scared him, so you can come back to the guy who just scared you. Maybe not.
You hear footsteps as he pushes back through. He has a tree in hand, which he just uses one hand to scrape off the branches, turning it into a makeshift club.
Yeah, let's be friends with the giant. Let's not make him too much more angry.
He's still eyes pretty much locked on Colvin, but glancing across at Robert and the rest of you. And he just sort of points and shouts again at Robert. And Robert just turns to you and make it quick.
Okay,
He might decide to try and see whether he can beat us. So if you want to talk, now's your time, or else this window will close.
All right, I will.
I'm not hanging around if that's the case.
probably best to ask him to be on his way. I think just the simplest,
I will
easiest
use
option.
telepathy and say, we do not wish to fight you, but we need this area. We need this land.
Make a persuasion roll.
Not bad.
Not bad for no bonuses.
You're right.
For giant Vragi stops, and with a almost deafening thud, the end of the tree thumps into the ground as he lowers it. And he calls back, not shouting now. Robert translates. He asks, "What do you really want?"
I
We'd
know,
like
he's
his-
getting all
his
philosophical on
hilltop
us.
We wish to make use of the ruins of the village and the hilltop here as a place to live, as we have been ousted from our homes and need a safe place to begin work on retaking them.
Vragi, are you speaking that for Robert to translate, or are you telepathically saying that to Vragi, the giant?
You know what? I'll say it to him directly. Actually, can he not respond? Can I not understand his responses as he's saying them? Or, well, not his like verbal responses, but
Normally you should be able to understand the responses. He's choosing, however, to speak.
okay.
Yeah, he's choosing to speak out loud in response, whilst seemingly accepting your voice in his head. He calls out quite a long couple of phrases in Thundak sentences. Robert waits a minute or two whilst he talks. Something gets repeated a couple of times. Robert asks for something to be repeated, and finally turns to the rest of you. Vragi here says it's poor hunting for him here. He only was sleeping the night. There is no shelter. He does not want this land. If you want to live in stone huts, that is your choice. Though these stone huts are broken, he points out. He says he too has been forced from his home, his kin slain. He understands wanting to take back home, but he wishes he will head north soon, though he's not sure what he will do.
Hold up. That was a massive hook just thrown right in our faces.
You think?
Yeah, no, Everett's has given up and he's just blunt force traumaing these into our face. So, you've just given us a poor hill giant whose kin have all been killed. We can't in good conscience send him off to probably also get killed, so, let us inquire as to what has driven us from his home and that we may be able to help him retake his home.
We
As
can help each other.
yes,
Mutual beneficial.
We may also want to we
Mutual
may also want to
symbiosis.
ask
whatever.
yeah, may want to ask Black, maybe the hill giant can stay near the hunter's lodge.
mm, we can ask, but I'm
If you're suggesting that, Robert just shakes his head and says,
scare off all the game.
He's not staying near my hunter's lodge. Giants aren't too good round buildings. They don't see them the way we do. Is my understanding from what I've seen of them in the past. Vragi and his kin probably lived much further north where there aren't such things.
Robert, do you know anywhere he can go to be safe, though? Since it sounds like he has no home at the moment.
He thinks for a bit. So there's in the mountains east of here is an old iron mine. The entrance may be big enough that you can crouch to enter. That might suit him for now, though. If you wish him to stay then in the area, then you might be held responsible for his actions.
Oh, decisions. Do we want to be enamored with the local population or have our own portable siege weapon?
Can't send the poor bastard off to be killed, though, can we? That's
No.
just not right.
At this, Robert asks something of Vragi in Giant. And Vragi sort of jumps on the spot and flaps his arms and throws his head forward, roaring.
Oh, fuck. I think that means dragon.
Robert looks around and just goes, dragon.
Yeah, we got that from the flapping and the
got that.
roaring.
What kind of dragon?
Yes, what colour?
Vragi just keeps roaring and jumping and shouting.
It's like, Robert, can you ask him what color?
Yes.
Ask him, let him calm down, but then ask him what colour it was. Like, point at the leaves of a tree or the brown of the dead leaves, the bready brown, or black of someone's clothing or something. So you can get an ascertain what sort of dragon it is.
Robert gestures at different things. The dry leaves, the grass and trees, and even the sky. Vragi just keeps shouting the same thing, and then starts blubbering and sobbing. Eventually, he turns and just lobs the tree trunk away in frustration. It knocks down a couple of trees a good couple 100 foot away.
I mean, he's helping us chop
As
down
it
some
splinters.
lumber.
Into splinters. It's not useful
Yeah.
lumber.
Firewood.
There's a lot of firewood over there if you really want it. Definitely a couple of trees went down by.
Yeah, it's easy firewood, boys. We're already setting up home. So, so a dragon has killed his kin. I suggest we do say that there is an abandoned iron mine nearby, that he can stay there for a while until he can get his things together, and then we might offer that a dragon is something that is dangerous to all folk, and we might be willing to help him avenge his kin and take back his home and defeat the dragon.
Just don't terrorize the local population.
Yeah, try not to terrorize any of the smaller folk. Just leave them well alone. Go find
Robert-
things out in the forest to eat.
Right, so do you want Robert to suggest this
Yeah,
to
well-
Braki, or is Corvin going to speak to him?
No,
We say Robert, just it's a bit more less straining on the poor fellow than having Corvin talking in his brain.
Which I get is not as big as his skull.
There's a lot of room in there. Probably means they don't suffer from meningitis ever, but
Oof. Robert looks. Is that what you wish for him to stay in the abandoned iron mine? And are you going to help him retake his home?
if we
Is
help
that
him
your intention?
retake his home, one, as much as it means possibly, we have a hill giant that is friendly towards us, always a good thing. Two, he can go back north and be out of the way of the civilized people that could be terrorized by things fleeing from a dragon. If we can deal with that dragon before other beasties start fleeing south, that's probably a good idea. Imagine if more monsters come charging down from the upper Halleck into the lower Halleck. It will cause chaos.
and if anything, dragon hide and
Dragon
bones are
hides.
going to be pretty useful.
Yeah, there's a lot of material wealth there too, so
Okay.
dragon scale plate mail and dragon hide leather armor, that's just the good stuff. But I think
okay.
from this point, it's a matter of honor. A matter of honor that this is a fellow person, because he is intelligent. He is talking to us. He may not be the smartest spark on the bonfire or the bright spark on the bonfire, but he is intelligent. He is communicating with us, and he's had a traumatic experience. His family's been killed by a dragon, and he's possibly the sole survivor. Yeah, we can empathize, I think, as a group with someone who's lost everything. And I cannot, in good faith, be mean to him. It just doesn't feel right being mean to someone who has lost everything to
Even
an
if he does go
invading
around-
force.
Even if he does go around destroying everything because he's pissed off.
He acts like a child, so
Well, I mean, that would have to be our requirement of him, that he not attack settlements. He's free to hunt wild animals and whatnot and feed himself, obviously, but no attacking of settlements. And if something urgent comes up, he needs our help, he can come to us, or set up something where he comes nearby and yells, and we will go to him, so that he doesn't come blundering into the fucking camp.
Accidentally demolishes all our tents and goes through the palisade wall.
Right.
right.
Also, he will have to be okay with the fact that the only way we have to communicate with him is Corvin. Corvin speaking in his mind, and yeah, well, I don't think Robert's going to be here every time, is he?
No, we can't ask that of Robert.
Robert shakes his head at that. I will be returning to my ways shortly.
Could we
I find
possibly
this interesting, but that.
either from Robert or going back possibly to the monastery at the town get like a phrase book for giant, so that we can at least kind of vaguely understand him and have an attempt to try and talk back to him?
Well, I thought about trying to use Insightful Discovery, but I don't think it will teach me the language. So.
Here's the thing:
unfortunately not.
Can Robert tell him that if he's comfortable talking to me through his mind, he can respond to me, so that Robert can return home and we can discuss.
Okay.
I think before that we need to lay down that we are willing to help him. He can go somewhere, he can stay there, and we are willing to help him with his dragon problem, because that is a threat to all people of the Halleck.
And we need to find out where this iron mine is. And
that's also a good thing. An abandoned iron mine, probably a nice source of resource. So we don't want him in there permanently, but it would make a temporary accommodation for him. And yes, once he's got his lands back north, bam, we've got a iron mine, which has probably also been sizably increased in size by a hill giant smashing shit.
I mean, if he mines some of the iron for us,
That's probably a bit beyond him.
I didn't say he would do it
Yeah,
intentionally. He just may accidentally break
Smash
some
some
of the
boulders
stone.
and things.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he might be smart enough to be like, hey,
Trees.
look for the rocks that look like this, and if they're in your way, just pile them over here, and we'll come get them out of your way.
And trees.
Hmm.
Tell them to pick up trees when they're in the way.
Yeah, but don't throw them. Just place them somewhere
Put
not
them
in
down
the way.
nicely.
God, we're making a list for this poor
There
giant.
should be a little area outside town where he can just put stuff he finds that he has no use for that we might.
Froggy shuffles a bit closer, watching.
Just like that. If he finds anything that he doesn't recognise, like rock wise or tree wise, we could designate an area just outside of town where he can leave it, and we'll have a look at it if we can use it or not.
I like
Don't tell him like look for iron ore and then look for gold ore and then just
look
confuse
for
the fuck.
shiny rock. Probably the extent of what we can ask him is shiny rock and nice looking
we'll
tree.
just, while he's living in the iron mine, if he breaks boulders that are shiny, just put them off somewhere so we can look at them.
I like
Okay.
the ideas we're coming up with, but yeah, we need to communicate
We need
these
to
through.
communicate this before the hill giant gets,
Pissed off
So,
and
yeah.
wanders away.
First things first, say
He
that
stopped sobbing. He's listening, and he's been watching you all. He's been pointing, things like that. Robert's been watching him carefully whilst you've been talking. Listening is like, right, break it down into simple things for him. Otherwise, I doubt he'll understand.
Yeah.
So iron mine, shiny rock, leave.
yeah, he goes
I think that's a bit too vague.
Robert will take him to somewhere he can stay. I think is the first thing.
Perhaps it's better if we do that so that Robert doesn't.
We don't know where the abandoned iron mine is. We can go with Robert, but Robert is the one which will have to lead the way.
I will take you there with
There you go.
Vragi. I can speak these things to him, and if he agrees, I can show you the way. After that, I will leave you for you to hold up your end of my bargain, and I may see you again in the future.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
So yeah,
He turns to Vragi and calls out. After a few sort of back and forths, Vragi just goes, da, 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 and stands up and looks expectantly at you all.
I'm going to assume then that "da" means yes.
Maybe.
So we can. Is he capable of walking and talking, or should we get everything done here before we start heading towards the iron mine?
He's waiting patiently. It's up to you.
Okay,
Robert's
So
ready
I
to
think
move out.
we next.
Let's go to the
Yeah,
iron mine.
let's
let's
take
head
him
to the
the
iron mine.
then.
Both
Um,
him and Robert are getting...
What all did Robert tell him as far as like the not attacking settlements or?
I think we just told him at the moment there's an iron mine. We're going to take you there.
and
Yeah.
we're going to help him with his dragon.
As Robert says, I've just told him he can stay at an iron mine. You four will help him there. He can stay there. I've not said anything more. If you
Probably
want
good.
him to not attack or break people's settlements, I can do that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't
and
go.
ask him if he's okay communicating with me the way I can, or if it makes him too
With your
uncomfortable.
magic, fair enough.
Yes.
He again talks to Vraki, and after a couple of minutes, is da 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 thump thump thump.
That sounds
He's
positive.
in agreement that he won't break stone houses or wood houses if he can help it, though they're sometimes difficult to see under trees.
That's as good as we
Fair.
can get.
That's fair enough.
He said he is okay. Well, as okay as I think he can say he is with you, with your magic. You took him by surprise. You must be a powerful seer if you can talk that way to him, he says. He doesn't understand it. If you explained how he can talk back to you, you might be able to, it might work. But at the moment, he thinks he has to speak out loud to talk to you. I don't know your magic. I cannot explain it to him.
Okay.
That's all right.
Perhaps I can try to explain it to him as we're walking.
Maybe that's something for another day.
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
let's not hurt his brain too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's take advantage of the fact we have a translator for the moment.
Yeah.
Let's go to mine. Let's show him what's what, and on the way out
Bear in
of
mind,
on the way out of this area, tell him where to put the shiny rocks he breaks.
I think we also need to mention the fact we are willing to help him with his dragon problem, given time.
You you head to the mine, Robert leading the way. It's only, let's see, all right, about 3-4 miles away. Yeah, 4 miles to get there. Right. Oh, mark it
Okay,
on your map. It
not too bad.
is that one there. Yeah. Marked it on your map with Vragi in commas. As you arrive, you can see it's overgrown, trees around it. It has a sizable entrance, but not big enough for Vragi to fit through. He leans down against it and peers inside before grabbing a nearby boulder and just smashing it against the hole.
It's one way
Rock
to do it.
shatters and is splitting, and he looks around and goes, oh. He looks towards Corvin. Robert's been talking to him a little bit as they've walked, as you've all walked to the iron mine. And it seems that he's trying to talk to you, Corvin, though he has a look of concentration on his face when he looks at you, and he talks out loud, but you get the gist of what he's trying to say in thought at the same time, so you can understand him
Okay.
and have two-way communication.
What is he saying?
This hill be good ground to hit and make hole in. Hole be big, hole be deep, hole be good to sleep in soon.
Oh, I see. So he needs to dig it out a bit so he can
It's
get
a-
himself in.
Yeah, it's a human-sized mine shaft, but it's a good place to start. And hey, there's going to be a lot of material excavated out of that hole, so...
Just need to sort of tell him to leave the stuff he digs.
Do we see
To
any
one
pieces
side.
that are of iron?
Iron is
Around-
ground formed.
Around
Does anyone know what
the
iron ore looks like?
outside, around the outside, there are overgrown piles of rock slag, not slag.
Or
Not all.
Spoil?
No, I'm trying to remember. Spoil heaps. That's the word I'm looking for. Of stone. Mostly broken down into random sized shapes. There were wooden pillars supporting the way in. But original hole was probably about 8 to 9 foot high. It's now being enlarged quite rapidly as you stand there, probably back a bit as there are stone chips flying off this way and that. Robert has stepped far well back as some of these splinters come streaking by. As Rarky seemingly sets to work. Further around, you can see the ruins of overgrown wooden cabins, roofs fallen in, rotting down, look black with mold and rot. And Froggy's already accidentally smashed at least one down. You can't see inside because he's in the way, blocking it, but there's no sign of pure iron, essentially.
Okay.
At the moment.
It's seeing as it's an abandoned iron mine, there's probably not going to be any iron close to the entrance. It's probably all been mined out. But you could say, if he finds any rock that looks different, he could pile it in a different pile if he feels like it.
Yeah.
You say not to.
Ozzy, does your ability allow you to send mental images?
It doesn't say that. It says that I can communicate with the creature.
With telepathy itself, that's language. If you want to send sort of mental images, that would be more along the lines of, what was it? There's one of your more invasive ones, which would be that.
So you can't send him the idea of what iron ore looks like.
I mean, we could possibly just find some iron ore. In fact,
sure.
can I look around the area and see if I can find a piece of iron ore?
Give me a, what do you call it?
Team perception roll.
Perception, yeah. We can all spread out and have a look to see if we can find iron.
Come on, team, let's spread out and look for clues.
There we go. There's your perception.
Wow.
Where is it?
Not bad.
Ugh.
Hey, it's
Wow,
8 Club.
okay.
Welcome.
Right, Sparks and Rufin, you find small bits of iron ore, which fit nicely into the palms of your hands.
Yeah, that's no good for a giant.
Yeah, unfortunately, not quite what you're looking for, but not quite right. Corvin and Eldrin, you come together upon a larger piece near what could possibly once been furnaces, smeltery. Can't remember what.
And what was the giant's name?
Vragi.
Can you spell that for me?
In chat now. Vragi. Vragi. Vragi's by now, whilst you've been searching, it's taken probably about 5-10 minutes to search around the spall heaps and area to come across that larger piece. It would take. You can move it yourself, but it's difficult. It's a heavy piece of rock.
Okay.
Two arms around it and some exertion.
I will, I guess, reach out to him with telepathy and say, Vragi, could you come here for a moment, please?
His head bangs straight up into the rock above. He's got in a little way. He just and backs out and ambles over to you, rubbing the back of his.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have startled you. Are you okay?
He nods at you.
Oh, do you want to get them cure light wounds? He's taking some bludgeoning damage to the back of the head. He may have a concussion.
I'll point out the iron veins in the rock, and tell him you may very well find a lot of rocks that look like this as you're making the hole bigger.
He reaches down, his arm like a tree trunk thrusting down between you to pick up the rock. He lifts it straight back up quite rapidly past you all, and looks at it closer, and then tries taking a bite of it, and then licks it, and then tosses it over his shoulder, nodding.
If you come across rocks like that, if you would set them out of your way, pile them somewhere that's not in your way, they may prove very useful to us in the near future and increase our ability to help you. And yeah, if you would be willing to do that.
He looks at you and focuses down and speaks in his Fundak tongue, whilst also in his mind forming. Speak too many words will pile up blood-tasting rocks.
Good enough.
Thank you.
He nods.
Always be polite to the giant.
He nods and sort of looks around. Oh, and then dashes off. Comes back a moment later with the rock that you had and puts it down.
He's
looks
doing
happy.
good.
Goes back to what he's doing.
Oh, before he goes back, have we at this point mentioned the fact we are willing to help him with his dragon problem?
Do we want to mention that now, or do we want to wait until we
maybe let him
are
settle
a little
in?
bit settled? Yeah,
maybe mentioning the word dragon might scare him again.
Yeah, and maybe that's something. Once we feel that we've got, the ability to maybe deal with a dragon, then maybe we come back and say, hey, we feel like we might be able to help you. Blah blah blah.
I mean, it's probably better to mention it sooner rather than later, because if we leave it, he may, change his mind. If we mention it sooner, he's got incentive to be nice to us, because we've said we're going to help him with his dragon problem. We don't want to not mention it, and then he gets a bit grumpy with us, because we've made all these demands of him, but we haven't really given him a reason why.
Yeah, can I ask Robert if there would be a way to get his attention that would perhaps not startle him? So he doesn't hit his head again.
Shout his name outside.
You look around. Robert's gone.
Shit.
He's gone home. He's had enough of this circus.
In that case, I'll just call out his name, just, vocally.
After a moment, Vragi turns and comes up to you and sort of squats down to try and look you in the eye. He can't.
Okay,
he's still towering
over
you, but he's made the effort.
Was made.
Oh, tell him. Okay, our friend Robert told us about what happened to your family in your home. We do not have the ability right now, but in the future, we would be willing to help you reclaim your home.
He laughs and slaps his knee at this. The laugh is long and loud.
Okay.
And then he stops and looks at you and then laughs again and slaps his other knee.
He doesn't
and
think
then
we can
stands
do
up
it.
and laughs some more.
Well, he apparently thinks it's laughable that we can take down a dragon.
Well, the offer has been made.
Mean, in our current state, yes.
He eventually sort of settles enough to bend down and sort of stare at you again, Corvin, with his big eyes, and says slowly, "Clever seer, speak too many words, but how can kill dragon when Vragi and Kin couldn't?" You must be fierce mage. He comes across with again.
I mean, we could roll with that, saying that you are a fierce mage.
Tell him, yes, but I will need time to build my strength for the fight.
He nods and says, "If that is the case, and He says, yes, he will stay, he will wait. He will think himself on what can be done as well to fight it.
Mention it may be many moons. Also, when we have a source of iron, if we're going up against a dragon, we're definitely outfitting Vragi in a set of iron plate mail.
Yes.
Saying. And
Fucking-
and he's
fucking
getting
hill
like a
giant
morning.
armor, yes.
He's
I
getting
like
a
this idea.
giant-sized morning star. Oh my
like
god,
this
the
idea.
chaos he could cause.
Oh my god.
Are we the bad guys? Are we going to just bring ruin to this kingdom with our plate mail weapon of mass destruction? I love it.
It's like the Kaiterons own the town. No, not
What
for
town?
long. What town? It's missing.
There's some footprints and a hole. That's it.
All right. Well, in that case, tell him. All right, we will leave you to your work. If something comes up and you need us, you know where to find us. We will be back at that village.
At some point.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. Because I had before it could spring to mind on that idea of yours. Vragi nods his head slowly and goes back to work on opening up the mine shaft.
I think we're done here. Do we
Yeah.
want to haul off that lump of iron ore?
No, that's. I mean,
Actually, probably best to leave it as a marker for him.
yes, and also we can't process it right now anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so our next order of business is probably to stop by the town and get those records removed for Robert.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, probably just swing by, do that. We were going to stop somewhere else and look into a job.
Yes, although
The
they
town just
unfortunately
south.
are in different
Yeah,
directions.
So let's do the. Wait, they're different directions?
I thought it was, yeah, it's Dorsberg for
It's
the
Doysburg,
job.
which is just south of us. And
It's
then
a decent
the other one
distance
is-
southwest, and the other one is southeast. Sorry, and the other one is it was
Sorlang.
Sorlang, which is a decent distance southwest of us.
Yeah, but we're just swinging by Sorlang. We're not spending any
True.
particular time there, are we?
Yeah,
We're just
we're
stopping
meeting
by,
our
talking to Jared, saying, "Hey, in this book, there's this record. We need it."
yeah.
on.
We're walking past him and also make sure he's aware that if he comes across any records of the Hunter's Lodge to the north, it must be removed.
Yes.
So Wei wanting to head first, sorry.
I think Sorlang's probably a
Sorlang.
good idea.
Yeah, keep a part
Yes,
of the
on
bargain
the
with
shoreline.
Robert as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. He
Um,
seems like a good man, even if he might be a bit wolfy.
Or something.
Wear something, possibly.
Something.
I don't care. He's helped us all out a lot. We've got a location. We have a friend who we now technically, I wouldn't call it fully functional, but we do have a functioning iron mine
Yeah, kind of.
that no one's going to want to steal the iron from because there's an angry giant down in it.
There's a giant that's willing to stay there.
Yeah, so
okay.
we've secured ourselves a very basic supply of iron. It's not going to be good quality because he's probably just going, "Ooh, that tastes like iron. Dump in pile." Going to take a lot of processing.
After all this, it's going towards the later afternoon. What do you want to do? I mean, you haven't actually
Yeah, we've not actually.
chance to look round.
Yeah, why don't we
Yeah.
spend the rest of the afternoon looking around the ruins, then we'll camp, and then we'll do our quick jobs over
thing.
Sorlang and
Yeah.
back to Dawsberg.
Robert did
So-
indeed say that there was a well in the town, and that's going to be very good to make sure that that's actually still functioning.
Yeah.
Having
Okay.
ourselves a source of water would be excellent.
You spent the hour or so walking back through the hills and across the sort of grassy knolls to the patch of woodland where the ruined villages. You see no sign of Robert anywhere. As you return, you approach along a slightly different track or way through trees, and you notice that possibly the ruins are more extensive than you first realized, but the outer periphery are more like a line of stones in the ground than the more high-sided walls you saw earlier.
I mean, we don't need a big place to start with. We just need a couple
Yeah.
structures.
I mean, honestly, what we really need to absolutely start with is enough room for our tents and walls high enough to block our firelight.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could probably
you
drag some
turn
rocks
back.
to make a sort of windbreaky shelter.
If you want
Yeah.
to have a look around,
Yeah.
describe what we want to do. You're back at the village site.
I'll start by sniffing and then tasting the water. Make sure it, smells and then doesn't taste.
Okay.
Smells okay,
Start-
doesn't taste
start
bad.
houses.
Yeah, you had the same idea as me, Eldrin. This one looks like it could be a good one to start with.
I was actually thinking that too.
The walls seem mostly intact. And it's right
Right.
next to the well.
I'm just trying to think. Who's checking the water? Sorry.
I am. Corbin.
Okay. Give me a nature check.
Don't get any diseases.
Okay, 21. Yeah, it tastes as you'd expect. Clean. No tang of anything. Just pure water.
Okay, so as long as we boil it, should be completely fine.
Excellent. Water source acquired.
This here, is that a trap door of some sort?
Go and have a look. You walk over, have a look. You can see the remains of maybe a wooden seat with a hole in the middle.
Oh, okay then.
And a rotting pile of something underneath.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna point out, okay, the civic planning of this place is terrible. Even in the army you learn, do not put the latrines that close to where you're getting the water from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, latrine pit's going farther away from the well than right next to it.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Okay.
What are the state of these walls then?
For walls of the ruin which you've looked at, there is actually a fire, the remains of an old fire in there. The blackened sticks and charcoaly bits remaining. There's damp with recent rain still. The walls around here are probably coming up to about 6 foot high in places. This sort of corner, which is overgrown, is probably going up to about 10, 11 foot high.
Okay. What about, I'm assuming like this section here is just busted down.
Yeah, it's just busted down, almost completely down to the foundation stones.
Well, a good enough place to put the door, I guess. We
You're
could
able
clear
to
some of
move
the
them
rubble.
around.
That is
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean, we could put our tents, say, here and here. And that leaves this wall here to block our fire in that direction. I mean, there's no real blocking it here, but you only get, 15 feet before there's another wall here, so. And I'm here. How about this wall back here? What's the height here?
It's decent height as well.
So, yeah,
Enough
that
to
should,
block light and everything.
that should conceal us fairly well.
I mean, if we put a tent here and here, that would cover that area.
But we need to get in and out of that structure. That rubble, which is basically flat, that's the easiest way in and out. That bit up here is like 12 feet tall.
Yeah, maybe
Oh.
what we should do is put a tent here and then we can have our fire like here.
Yeah,
That way, nothing's sneaking up the backside of our tents. per
yeah.
se.
They've
Yeah.
got to come at us
Okay.
from the front. And that's a good starting little structure.
Do we
With
still have some light to search around the rest of the ruins, or
we may want to do that. It's getting late now, isn't it?
It's is getting like you've still got a couple of hours of daylight, but it's getting behind the mountains now.
Probably best if we get our
Yeah, just set up
camp
camp.
down first.
Yeah.
So, Everett, do you have available tent images to slap on your map?
Well, do we want to
Unfortunately,
put our
I'm just gonna
tents down? Do we want to put our tents down permanently, or since they are tents and we're still going to be doing a bit of traveling, do we want to take them with us? And then when we come back, we can work on
unless
putting
you
a
wanna-
makeshift ceiling
That's
up and putting
nice
actual
gift.
beds under here.
I mean, unless you want to sleep without a tent tonight, we need a tent. Doesn't matter
Well,
if we're
no,
taking it down.
I mean, yeah, we want them down tonight, but do we want to actually add them to the map at this point? Because that seems to me like that'd be making them more permanent.
Yeah, probably not permanent. Make them a permanent addition.
Right.
Tell you what, don't worry about it too much now. Camp, move on.
I know. I just
do your
wanted
next sort of
pretty.
things.
I just wanted pretty graphics on the board.
I don't have a tent just to slap down.
Yeah. No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't have that much more stuff on Roll20. I'm already at my limit of images.
Yeah. No worries then. We'll just,
So, yeah.
do we still have a Sudi by chance?
I've been wondering that for a little while.
Sudi.
Sudi.
He's possibly fallen asleep.
Yep. Seems that way. Okay. Oh God. Who moved the latrine into our sleeping area? It's leaking.
Oh no.
There you
Oh,
go.
good
These are
goodness,
the
I trust.
finest of PNG
Okay.
image tents.
Are you keeping watch, setting guard, anything?
I think it's the
Probably
standard
best
one.
to keep watch. Yeah.
Okay. Mark off a set of rations for everyone for your day of wandering around. And Corvin, if you're keeping watch again, roll
So
perception.
there's 4 of us. So
Yeah, it's 4 lots off.
Should probably bring the most important member of the party down to the camp, Mr. Mule.
oh yes, that leaves us at 27, not 327 or 278. Fuck.
It's enough to feed a small army for a decent time.
You might have
Yeah.
noticed I've also put a tab on called settlement with a couple of statistics there. Concealment, security, sustainability, industry, size, and profit.
Sustainability 1. Ooh. Like concealment though.
Mm,
Yeah. They go up to a maximum of 10. Concealment's high because you're basically camping in a known ruin in the woods or semi-known ruin in the woods. No one's expecting anything here really, and it's not obvious from a distance that there is anything here.
Right.
Security, there's no walls, there's no palisade,
Right.
there's that, so you don't have guards or anything. Sustainability, you got some walls and some water. Come winter, you might want to up
Yeah.
your ability to stay warm and dry and have things ready. Industry, you have none. Size, it's a camp. Profit, you have none.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
People staying here, you have yourselves, and that's it. So none. No NPC people.
Apparently, we're just gonna leave Sudi up on the road.
Yeah.
I'll move him down. There you go. All right.
Yeah, no, he's fine up there.
Yeah. You can hear in the distance the thunder, almost like thunder. The sound of Vragi smashing his way into the mountain. It goes on for several hours until it actually does get dark and then eventually stops.
So I'm going to say we put a tick on the industry because we have an iron mine.
No. It's not that easy.
Curses.
I like the way you did that. Just loud.
Next.
No.
The next day rolls around.
All right. Shall we get moving then? Well, I guess we need to. Right. Well,
I guess you head towards Saw.
To
Yes.
soothing.
Head to Sorlang, talk to Jared, and then on our way to Dawsberg.
Yeah, don't stick around
Okay.
too long, but we can also take a look and see what the state of the town is. What's the Kaiteron presence there? I know it was rising when we got there the first time.
Okay, you reach Sorlang by
Have you got the map for Sorlang?
mid to early evening. Yes, I do. I was about to move on to it.
Yay.
I was just checking how far it was. You're going across rough terrain at times. There's not much in the way of roads between your village and Sorlang. Way going across country, sort of trying to straight line it to make the best speed to actually get there. You arrive late in the day. There's still guards, Kaiteron guards at the gates watching who comes and goes. They recognize you. It's the same as from a few days previous. Eldrin, you'll certainly be able to recognize them with your memory. And well, I'm not sure whether you... Not anything particular that remember, it's only perception for you. I need to think of more often. You arrive and are able to enter without any hassle. Where are you going first?
Well, let's find our room for the night.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would
stop at the Wishing Spinet and get our rooms.
Okay.
it would look very weird if we arrived, went to the monastery, and then just left again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you go to Wishing Spinet. You can get rooms there. Trying to remember, it was somewhat wasn't fantastic. It was 5 silver a piece per night, so 20 silver for the group.
With or without catering dogs?
With food. You get your food in as well.
So I guess we'll head up to the monastery to
Have a chat.
So yeah, please make sure to mark off 20 silver.
I just did.
Yeah, cool. You head up to the monastery. It's much the same as last time you visited. Path circling up the side of the hill overlooking the town. Passing through the gate, you come to the enclosed space with the curtain wall going around. It's quite busy still, though most people seem to be either heading back down into the town or sort of setting up in lean-tos against the wall in huts, or disappearing into the cloisters. There's a few more people making camp around the edges than there were previously.
We got some refugees.
Yeah. As you're going to talk to Jared. I'm trying to remember his name now.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it again? Yeah, Jared. You are you going to the church or the cloisters to do so?
Where did we find him last time? It was...
You went
library.
into the church and then through into the library.
I guess the church then.
Okay. You head into the church and it seems to be something of an evening mass going on. It's the last sort of light of the day streaming through the windows to the east. Sorry, to the west, and there's mass going on. There's possibly 50, 60 people there singing. That song comes to an end as you arrive, and the old sister, whose name I've completely forgotten off the top of my head, I'm looking at my notes now for, is speaking, saying the praises to Baladorn and to give thanks for the good day's work and sharing of knowledge.
I imagine the thing to do is just find a seat, sit quietly until the end of the service.
Yep. Let's not disrespect the service by going and trying to find someone and asking. We'll sit and wait.
Okay, you sit and wait. It seems fairly normal for people to come and join in or sit and take part. It goes on for another probably about 20 minutes and then draws to a close. Eldrin, you can spot Jared through the crowd quite easily, being slightly taller than most people here. As people start dispersing out through the doors and through into the cloisters, you see Jared. He's helping Petunia, the Master Petunia, to a door where another member of the monastery takes her arm and leads her on further out. And he comes over to you. Hello? Sorry. So I've got a bit of a sore throat. Not going to do his voice. He says, hello, I wasn't expecting to see you again so soon. It's only been a few days, hasn't it? I'm not sure I have anything for you, he whispers quietly, but this way, and we can talk. He leads you over to one of the workbenches and begins binding a book. Most of the people have gone now, and the last couple of monasteries' brothers disappear, and you're pretty much left alone now in the somewhat echoing church after a couple of minutes. So, how can I help you, good sirs? He looks around just to double check.
The last time we were here, we found some notes in a book, and we need to retrieve those.
More specifically, we need to make sure that nobody else can ever retrieve them.
It involved a hunter's lodge.
And I'll have Sudi tell him which book it was, since it was Sudi who found it.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, Christ.
Don't worry.
He lives.
You are still awake, just. Okay. Suti, you're able to recall the book and give the details to Jared. Jared's a little apprehensive at this. You want me to remove the information from this book? A hunter's lodge?
Yes.
In Valhalla? Whereabouts?
It's
Less
best you don't
important.
know. They're very particular.
Okay, well, I
leave
said
it
I would
to
help. So.
Leave it to say they are a very potential ally. This is something they have asked of us, and it would go a long way to improving our relations even more.
Okay, he hums and hears. It's one thing for me to keep notes. This would be damaging one of the book's property of a monastery. Knowledge is, surely you know, knowledge is sacred to Balador, and to break this words.
Yes.
If it was to be found out I did it deliberately, it could endanger my position
Could
here.
How about you bring us the book? We will research it while you go to the bathroom, and then we'll return it to you.
Make a persuasion check, Eldrin.
Ooh.
I don't see why I can't bring you the book to have a look at. That seems perfectly reasonable.
Just make sure, absolutely sure, you don't accidentally leave the top off your inkwell. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I was thinking we just cut the page out.
He Yes, very well. I will go and find this book you wish to have a read of. He says a bit overly loud and walks off. About 4 or 5 minutes later, he returns with the book. It took a little bit of finding. I think your friend here placed it at the bottom of one of the piles you went through. But here we are. I think this is the right one. He holds it up to you, Sparks, to check. So you gave him the description of it. Is that it?
Mm-hmm. I need to
Okay.
go check.
Well, have a read. Find what you're looking for in it. I'll just be a moment. Did you say there was something else you wanted here? Or was this it?
Do you know of any books that might tell us what kind of dragons live in this area?
Dragons? Dragons here?
We have it on debatable authority that there is in fact a dragon problem slightly north of here.
A dragon problem here? Wow. There's not been reports of dragons in Cerith for decades.
Yes.
I can think of. These dragons are almost legends. I'd be the talk of the country if there's been one seen. You've seen one. You said
We've heard
middling
about one.
We
reports.
met the survivor of a supposed dragon attack. It was a hill giant, but his
A
entire
hill
group,
giant.
his
Wow.
entire group was killed, and he was driven south, apparently by a dragon. But that's all we know. It was big, scary, flappy thing, which roughly translates to dragon.
You've been talking to hill giants. He looks towards you, Elgin. You're a man of many talents. I had no idea you could speak Thundak.
We can't. Do
Wait,
you
he
happen to know
knows the
any
language?
books on the language?
It's not a common one. I'm not sure even the libraries here at the Monster will have anything. We can look, but I can promise nothing that I can't promise anything will be found. You might be better off talking to maybe a merchant or someone with more interest in the wilderness, I guess you would say, or wild creatures and cultures, if
We could.
it is a culture.
We could make a quick check and see if Jaros is still in town.
Yeah.
I think wasn't he in a different town? He was in...
No,
he was here.
I was pretty sure it was this town. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was.
But we don't know if he's still in this town.
Yeah.
Although it's only been a few days, so.
Do you mean
Oh no, you know what? He was in Ipsum.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Ipsum.
But was
But
he
he-
heading this way? I can't remember if
I
he
don't
was
know.
heading to Sorlang or Dawson afterwards.
Yeah, he was.
I said towards the autumn he'd be heading for Forling.
Which is this way. He's
So,
probably still
it's
in
worth a look.
Ipsum.
Jared
Full-time.
Heath you're talking about. It's worth having a look for. You can certainly have a look for another merchant in town.
Probably
Yeah.
a thing to do in the morning.
So,
So while Jared runs off.
Do we want to have a quick peruse in the library just in case we find something on giant language?
We probably should. It's the best collection around here, so.
Yeah. If any collection's going to have it, it's going to be this one.
It's
Well,
the only collection you have access to. There might be others. You haven't really
Yeah.
found any out yet.
take care of the more immediate thing first.
I suggest if we're going to take the whole page, we don't immediately destroy it. We bring it back to the hunters as proof that we've dealt with the problem.
So we need to cut it down as far to the binding as possible so that we can just take the page.
Does anyone have a dagger or a small cutting implement?
I'm sure Sparks has such a device. Sparks probably... Does Sparks have these tools? Because there's got to be something in there for that.
Oh, I do too, actually. I have thieves' tools.
Yeah, you've probably got some tiny little shears or
I mean,
something
I have
in
an
there.
herbalism kit, so yeah, I probably have some local
Yeah.
herbalism.
Yeah, we've probably got something, yeah, to cut it right down to the binding so it doesn't look like anything's missing. So at a casual glance, no one's going to spot it.
Right.
So who wants to try surgery on the book?
Jeremiah points at the bookbinding table. Yes. I'll be.
Well,
I just need to go and grab my evening meal. I'll be back in a little while.
He points at the book binding table?
If it's a
Yeah, he's
table for
rebinding
binding books,
so...
it's going to have the tools to unbind them.
Oh, good point. I mean, I don't know how to use them, but
Give me whoever wants to.
actually,
You can give me a. It's not really performance.
Sleight of hand?
Yeah, I'm
Doing
going with
things with
sleight
your
of hand
hands.
because it's hiding something using your hands. It's delicate work. So yeah, sleight of hand.
Sooty with the luck?
Sleight of hand is Sparks' thing.
Yeah. You have a thing to do, Sparks. The
do we
Sparks
have
you...
sparks to do it?
The Sparks you have dialed is currently unavailable. Please call again later.
Sooty, wake up. No.
Everett, do
Sooty,
you want to
your
roll
pulse is
on
crashing.
Sparks's...
Alright, I'm gonna just roll for him. If you guys are happy with that, Sparks making the attempt.
Yeah, Sparks possibly also attempting to burn a luck. If Sparks has a luck, just in case.
Sparks has one luck left, however, I'll leave him to spend those rather than using a not perishable but finite rechargeable resource without him being present.
Fair enough.
15. With somewhat unsurprisingly dexterous and efficient work, Sparks is able to lever the leaves of the book apart and get a sharp knife down right into the binding and cut carefully along, removing the page almost without, to the point where it's going to be incredibly tricky to actually see that it was ever there in the first place, other than the page numbering being off.
Oh no.
Okay.
By the time Sparks finishes the operation on the book, the Jeremiah returns, carrying a plate of food and eating. Have you found what you're looking for in that book I brought you then? Did it have the information you needed?
Yes,
Yeah.
we've got exactly what we need, and just hand him the book back.
Oh, excellent. May Baladorn will smile upon you.
I'm going to go and may he smile upon you too and run away.
Yes, perhaps that means it's time for us to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it's time to get ourselves at least 5 pints down in the pub and then go to bed.
Okay. You all return to the Wishing Spinet. You can spend on some alcohol if you want.
I might also buy a fancy bottle of alcohol for us to take back up to the Hunter's Lodge. Make it the thing.
Okay. A fine bottle of wine.
I'm just thinking maybe a couple fine bottles of ale. Probably a
Fine
bit
bottles
more
of
to their
ale,
taste.
Okay, you've talked to the barkeep Osric weed, and you haggle about. He offers a couple of bottles of cider, ale, and then finally says, brandy might be more to the liking. He's got a couple of bottles you'd be willing to let go for 15 silver apiece. Damn good ones, apparently.
2 bottles of brandy.
Sure, why not?
I mean, we want to leave a good impression on the hunters. Bringing a gift of alcohol is usually a good way.
Okay. Mark them off. He, takes some money. You get 2 bottles of brandy. Mark them onto you. Kit list, whatever. Party loot. 2 bottles of good quality brandy. If you're gonna have drinks at night, mark off another 4 silver for that. I'll get you all around, or 2.
Yeah.
Should work since Corvin doesn't really drink.
Yeah.
Ruffin's got to have a half pint. He's a responsible drinker. He's the designated archer, you know. Can't drink too much.
I'm actually going to have to head out for dinner, so...
That's right. Well, seeing as our characters are heading out for dinner, it's probably a good enough plan.
Yeah. Okay. With that complete, I guess you'll head to bed, and following day we'll roll around. We can leave it there with you guys working out what you're
I
doing.
think that's a good place to leave it. We've accomplished quite a lot today.
Yeah, we got an iron mine that's kind of working with a hill giant in it. We're searching for dragons.
You're all putting a lot of weight behind the intelligence of the hill giants here.
I was going to point out we have a well-protected iron mine that is not functional.
I didn't say it was functional. I said it was there.
You never know.
I expect him to be able to at least slightly discern iron, whether or not it's good quality or not. Meh.
Well, I mean, all we asked him to do was, if it was in his way, just stack it up for us.
Exactly. If anything, he's just going to expose the veins for us and make it easier to mine.
So we'll see. We have an iron mine. It may not be working at all, but we have one, and no one's going to take it from us unless they can deal with a hill giant, which most peasants probably not. Maybe a platoon of Kaiterons, possibly, but a bunch of local peasants, definitely not. So we've got it secured for the moment. We have a base of operations which has at least a source of water and is pretty hard to find.
We probably need to do some work on that after we...
I mean, we've got the carpenter's kit, Aussie, so I suspect our characters are going to spend a couple of days lumberjacking and making some planks too.
Yeah, well, I noticed there were a couple of downed trees on the map already, so...
We got wood, depending on the quality of down trees. We'll also need things like building supplies. We're going to need nails, hinges, things like that.
I'll point out you can't have a rebellion of 4 people. It's not anti-Stasi. You need more people supporting.
Right, but what I was thinking is more immediately we need an actual semi-permanent base, not a set of walls that we can put tents in as we pass by.
Yeah, we want a roof of some description to keep us warm, because winter is coming.
Mm-hmm.
It may still be summer, but winter is coming.
I'll point out for heroes, adventurers, delegate when you get the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we do need...
I will see you all next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you all. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it.
He's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't really delegate until we have somewhere to do delegating.
To delegate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I can't imagine it would be too hard for us to, fairly decently restore. Well, not restore, but say, put a roof on that building that we're in. Take bricks from the surrounding walls to get everything level and whatnot as needed. And that way we've got at least a roof over us, and maybe we can build up the thing and put a door in it. I don't know, but
Yeah, just make
You
it a
can
bit more
certainly
habitable.
turn it into a reasonable shelter. It'll be a shit one because it'll be okay because some of you've got skill in carpentry.
Yeah,
but
me and
it's not going to be possibly
Right.
fantastic.
yeah, we
But
may
it'll
be skilled, but we don't
it'll
have the
be
proper
shelter from the
tools.
elements. It'll be
Yeah.
well,
You'll end up with an amalgam kind of
As
half and half hut.
long as
Yeah,
it's somewhere
and then
mini
serviceable.
cabin.
yeah, and then probably the next thing for us to do would be what? Find a stonemason, and maybe another NPC carpenter, so that
Yeah.
they can work on improving and whatnot the buildings while we're out doing things.
Yeah. Yeah, build
But
something.
that's something we do as we're traveling around, doing the job in Dawsberg and what have you.
I mean, there's a load of refugees in Sorlang. There might be some of them there which have some
Actually,
skills.
that's a very good point. We could go back up in the morning, aka next week, and be like, "Hey, we have need of some people with such and such skill sets. Not too many, probably to start with. Maybe one of each of 2 or 3 different skills, whatever.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable."
It also keeps people with skills out the hands of the Kaiterons.
Yeah.
Heck, imagine if we can snag ourselves a blacksmith before the Kaiterons.
No, we don't. We really wouldn't have much for him to do, unfortunately.
No, we wouldn't have much for him to do, but just imagine if we could stop the Kaiterons getting someone who could make them arms.
I mean, they already have people that can make them arms and armor.
But just one more. We need to do everything we can to hurt the war effort. But yeah, I definitely think going through the refugees, seeing if any of them are willing to work and have some skills would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
They're here, we may as well give it a go.
Okay. Well, for anyone watching, thank you for joining us. I hope you join us next week as we continue, hopefully.
Yep, it's getting good. Definitely an interesting
They're slowly
session.
getting somewhere.
Yeah, we're not just a bunch of idiots on the road now. We're a bunch of idiots with somewhere we can call home, finally! Even if it is just a pile of rocks in the woods. It's our pile of rocks.
Won't take much to change that around, however.
Yeah, it's a start. And from there, once you've got that start, you can just catapult yourself forwards. And it will be much easier to progress and do interesting things.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. It's gone really well. I'm really looking forward to next session. Yeah, I hope chat is too. It's been really good. And I thank everyone who's come out to join us. It was fun. So we will see you all firstly Friday for some more noitering. If you want to come bully a carrot, that's always fun. And then we've got our anti-Stasi, which is kind of the same thing. We're kind of basically doing the same thing in D&D as we are in Amalfere, just with slightly different setting. And then after that, it'll be next week for more D&D, if that's what you're into. So until then, thank you all for coming out. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.